Welcome to the Dinnernet with Mark and Meg, the podcast where the only king is a salmon.
Aw, or a crab.
Or a county.
Or a street station. Our guests today are Jaimon and Michelle Pogostkin. I did it again. Pogostkin and Amino, a Seattle pop-up doing eclectic fermenter food and drink with punk rock vibes. You guys probably know how to say your own names. Don't leave it up to me. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah? So far, so good?
Yeah.
Are you warmed up?
Yeah, after
Yes.
that lap, I feel good.
Yeah, you did a lap around the building and
Yeah,
now you
yeah.
feel like you're ready to podcast. How
Yeah,
was
yeah.
your week?
It was.
Burdock root.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's how our week is.
Yeah. And how long it takes to cook it.
Okay, you're
yeah.
cooking it. Okay.
Yes, we're making salami sticks for our next pop up,
Really?
June 26th, and I'm growing koji on it, so it's like vegan charcuterie.
Okay.
And last time I did it, so I was making burdock root for our previous pop up, but
Okay.
it didn't go through, and so I was like, this is a challenge that I need to face head on. So I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna win.
Yeah.
Burdock root's not coming like as home as the winner, but
Yeah.
it takes a really long time. I mean, we were cooking it for like 10, 13 hours at this point.
Wow.
But the problem is like you can't cook it too high because it'll break down too much. So
Right.
we're at that sweet spot of like just like that perfect, not boiling and not simmering, just like a hot where,
Okay.
you know, like,
It's just a really long-winded
Yeah.
way to
Yeah.
answer how are you doing this week,
Yeah,
because
burdock root.
it's
Yeah.
it's just
Condense
it's
it.
a really
Yeah.
long
It
process.
paints a picture. You guys are
Yeah.
putting a lot of work into this pop-up.
That was a really
Dedication.
a wonderfully scientific answer to how was your week. Like we kicked it off really well there.
Yeah.
Also, what does a burdock root look like? Because I'm thinking of those dock roots that are in my yard that are like a really tall, skinny
they're
carrot,
like as long as this table, and
Okay.
they're
Oh,
like
wow.
that thick. It's like
Dang.
and they taper off at the end,
yeah, a little
like
bit,
a carrot sort
A
of.
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah, a little bit.
yeah.
Okay.
What's the color on them?
Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
and then they
dirt.
kind of oxidize because you like peel it,
Uh-huh.
and then they go a little blackish.
Okay,
Yeah.
now we know. Marco, how was your week? And
It was very workful.
Yeah.
The same as last week. I think you and I have had the same
yeah,
weeks
we've both
lately.
been just plugging away at work all weeks.
It's sort of that like Schrodinger's workload where like
Yeah.
it's both really bad and really good, you know, because you want to have work as a freelancer.
It pays
that's,
money, yeah.
That's the goal, is to have work. But then you're like, I have all this work, and I'm working like literally every single day, not 9 to 5, like 9 to midnight.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, it's I did get to a fascinating exhibit though, you guys.
Okay.
There was an exhibit at the University of Washington that was led by an instructor named Elisa Ronard.
Okay.
I might be mispronouncing her name. I hope not. But
Yeah. I made it okay to do that. So.
yeah, you've broken the seal.
It's normal now.
Yeah. It was called City Erased: Mapping Seattle's Highway Cut.
Oh.
And this is something I'm personally super interested in and
Yeah.
have been interested in forever. And the whole deal was it was a lot of her design students at the University of Washington Department of Architecture basically researching what was where I-5 is now.
Yeah, they
in
just
the
wiped
city.
out a big stripe of the city to
Yeah.
build I-5. Yeah.
And so it was a very poignant exhibit. They did a great job with the research. I was
Yeah.
really impressed. These like young students just digging up some real obscure stuff and some really hard to recreate settings in the city.
Okay.
And it was also very hard not to mourn the loss of that, because
Totally.
that's when we're talking about a housing crisis and
Yeah, we
the
lost
need for
like,
density. We-
I don't know, half a mile wide, a big ribbon of housing.
yeah. And it's wild too. They actually constructed the path kind of throughout Seattle's history. So
Yeah.
there's no point in the history of Seattle where I-5 wouldn't have bulldozed a built environment. Like
Right.
even as far back as like 1879.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
I want to go see this.
Yeah. It's really interesting.
That's kind of my shit. You and I are both Seattle history nerds
Yeah.
in this way.
Yeah, we super are.
Yeah.
I hope that they publish that because the exhibit is now over.
Oh, it is?
They
Okay.
only did it for 2 days, but I think that's really vital work. I think it's so
Yeah.
essential for us to know what was. You know,
Totally.
when we start to plan about where we're going,
Yeah.
we need to know where we've been. And
Did you post that on a story? Or
I
something
posted
similar.
Instagram?
I posted a story about them doing it, and I took some photos that I haven't gotten around to posting. I'm going to post them on my account later just to kind of show a little bit of it. I hope they publish it.
Yeah.
in some form because it's really cool.
I think that people, not all people, everyone's different. I think some people think that because Seattle is a fairly young American city, it just went from forest to this, and that there's no
Exactly.
history in the ensuing 150 years.
Yeah.
But
When I was younger, I fully assumed that I-5 was just built on meadowlands or something like that.
Right.
And then the eastern part of the city sprung up in its wake, right?
yeah,
But
exactly.
not-
We built I-5 first.
yeah, yeah. I mean, when you're a kid, that's the lot that some people
Sure,
still
it's
have.
always been here. What I see now has always been.
Yeah. Anyway, what did you do?
I just worked.
Yeah.
I worked and worked and worked. I was still on the beat for the Sea Creature story. I finished up the cider map. I
Nice.
did like my day job. Don't want to hear about that. Disgusting. We're 95% done with the greenhouse. We did the greenhouse.
Nice.
We mostly got along, Stephen and I. I tend to cut corners just because I'm like, I can't be doing this anymore. And if I quit doing this now, it's going to sit in my yard for 2 more months with no work done on it. So I was like skipping the washers and stuff. And Stephen's like, you can't skip the washers. The whole thing will fall apart. He is right.
Yeah.
He is correct. He was being the dad of my greenhouse.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right.
Well, all right, you two. Well, tell us about Amino. What is it exactly?
Oh, the elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Horrible at
You
it.
better have one.
We fermented food.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like regular food, but
Fermented.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
It's rotten food. No,
Oh my
just
God.
kidding.
The pressure's on like immediately. Right?
No, not at all. We're not even in an elevator.
So talk about yourself.
we just had this like we met with an architect the other day and they're like, give me the elevator pitch.
Oh,
and I'm like,
God.
Yeah, and both of us were like,
we made ourselves look so
we're
stupid.
like, we
and
need
I'm
a
like,
plate and some food for the elevator pitch.
Right.
We need to bring our product. Here you go, eat it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Well,
true. You could just do it that way. Just open your mouth, sir.
There's no need to talk.
It's an eclectic fermented pop-up concept
Good.
where we're just exploring and celebrating the wonders of fermentation.
Okay.
You know, I would say Amino is more in that lane of exploring and quote unquote modernizing and innovative, I guess. You know, Symbiotic Cultures is sort of in that realm, but it's more
So
about
does-
celebrating and honoring.
Amino
about-
contain symbiotic cultures.
Yes, we're like both together.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like
I see.
we're like creating flavors over time. So like we'll take, like we'll ferment something for about a year, and then that's the flavor that shines at Amino, basically.
Okay. I see. So symbiotic cultures is a supplier of amino.
Huh? I guess I've never. looked
Yeah,
at
you're
it
a vendor.
Yeah.
No, it's hard to explain to people because
Yeah.
the concept is a little odd.
Yeah.
But whenever the storefront happens, I guess you could say it is going to be called Symbiotic Cultures.
I see.
Oh, I see.
Because it's we do retail essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
And trying to make that accessible to people and doing workshops and all that jazz. And then Amino's kind of like an offshoot of the Symbiotic Cultures brand.
Okay. So amino is dinner.
Yeah.
It's
Got it.
the pop-up arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That springs forward.
It's the food, department.
Yeah.
Cool.
I feel like I started to understand that a lot better when I was hearing about how you guys met. So could you guys tell us how you two met?
Yeah. Do you want to?
Yeah.
wanna do
Okay,
that?
so basically when I got back from Noma, that's like where I learned everything.
Okay.
I was like, I'm from Bellevue, so I was like,
Okay.
all right, I'm going to start my own business.
When were you at Nova, real quick?
2020.
Noma. I
Yeah.
said Nova, which was my high school. I don't think we went to high school together. Okay. So you're back from Noma.
2020 to 2021, which was kind of
Okay.
a weird time, but I learned so
Sure.
much there. And I came back and I was like, I'm going to open my own business. And so I was like, I started posting all sorts of things. I had no idea how to do posts, but it caught the eye of Jaimon. And he started to like send me a message. He actually literally said in a comment, hey, we should be friends. I didn't know that you were in Seattle. That it was like just a comment.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, a business opportunity. And so
You're being a business lady.
yes, I was like, I DM'd him and I was like, we should be friends. And so we started talking, and so he wanted some koji, and he's like, let's meet at Boat Bar. And we sat down at 5:00, and we got up at the end at the end of the shift. It was like an airplane seat, 5-hour trip.
So you guys were
closed-
talking for 5 hours.
Yes,
You closed
Yeah,
the place down.
Exactly.
We did.
Wow.
All about fermentation,
Yeah.
and we just both realized that he's like, I'm gonna do a pop-up about fermentation and food. And I was like, oh my God, me too. Because at the time I started making all these products and I didn't know how to get out there and sell them. So I was like, maybe if I do a pop-up and show people how to use them, how I would use them, this would help the process. So I had like a little like booth set up at that pop-up that I did. And so, yeah, and then I'm like rambling right now, but
no, that's what we invited
Yeah.
you to come here and ramble. That's what we want you to do.
so
It's called content.
What was the question?
the question
How'd
was,
you meet?
How did we meet? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Where am I right now?
Yeah, I was like, well, where are
So,
we?
Jaimon, were you already doing Amino by then, or it was just a concept
no,
in your skull?
I locked in a date at Manolin
Okay.
for the first one, and she did that happen? It doesn't matter.
No.
It was all at the same time. Like
Okay.
we just all like.
It
I was
just
like, I'm gonna do
dovetailed.
my first pop up. I got this idea,
Yeah.
and then I ran into her with the Instagram thing, and it just.
It
Yeah,
dovetailed
like
naturally.
basically, I needed a chef, and I needed so much advice, and we just kind of fell in love through talking about all of that stuff. I mean, we
Yeah.
were just like shooting off ideas to each other all day long about fun ferments, fun dishes, or and that's kind of what blossomed it. It was just like this crazy
Yeah,
moment where
definitely.
like, oh my God, we're both doing the same thing,
Yeah.
and we're both right at the beginning. So it was just so easy to like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just made so much sense
Yeah.
to just be like, let's do this together. And like, it was like no questioning it. We're like, this is what we're gonna do. This is our lives now. Right
Yeah.
now, we're together forever.
Guess what? This is your life now.
Yeah.
So that's how it went together, because it was like, okay, I'm making ferments, he's making the food, but honestly, we do both. A little bit of both. He knows a lot of stuff about fermentation, and like we just bounce off ideas off of each other. And
Yeah.
It's just the best. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel comfortable doing everything for sure.
Yeah.
Bending the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
stuff.
You're punk rock. That's the
But-
punk rock part, right?
The bad boy of fermentation.
I got rid of that. I got rid of that
Bad boy of
tagline.
fermentation is the episode title.
Yeah, no, doing koji itself is like a whole other layer. I completely understand it, but it's funny how I have so much patience because of this style of cooking, but I don't have patience for koji. And I'm like, oh,
Funny.
she loves doing that, so perfect.
That's my favorite
Keep
part.
doing that.
Yeah.
What drew you to koji?
I don't even. I think I'm just at the right place at the right time,
Yeah.
type situation. I was starting to dabble with koji, and like that was like when I just hardly anyone in the cool, quote unquote, cool realm, like no one knew how to use it properly, and then that Koji alchemy book came out, and that kind of like changed the landscape for
Okay.
the whole world, pretty much. I guess that's kind of how it happened.
What's your culinary background, Jaimon?
I'll try to do a good summary. Went to the good old Cordon Bleu
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
in
Heard of it.
2011, I believe. I'm from Idaho, the Boise area.
Sure.
And then after culinary school, went and got a job in Idaho. My dad lives in Seattle, lives in Lake Stevens. And so I used that to come up here. And so this was around 2013, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a job at Nell's in Green Lake.
Nell's. That's
Do you
an
know
old
that?
classic.
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah.
I love that place. I'll never not speak highly of it because it taught me how to cook, like a real quote unquote cooking in a professional setting. It was very old school and like very outdated, I guess you could say. But the execution and just how you ran a line and how you conducted yourself. I met a guy named Larkin Young. He's a fairly known kitchen rat, I guess you could say, around town.
It's the only rat you want in your kitchen.
No, he was
Known kitchen
he
rat.
was the chef at Tilth.
Okay,
for
yeah.
Maria Hines when she was blowing up. So he
Right.
was like in the heart of it, running her kitchen. He's very, very good at what he does. Anyway, he kind of took me under his wing for some reason, and then I went over to Maria Hines, and that was when I was just a line cook. But I quickly became sous chef, and then this is like 2015 or something.
Yeah.
I'm leading up to.
Sure.
And then that Larkin person, he worked at the Willows Inn on Lummi, and he put me in contact with someone there, and I went up there, and that was the best and worst.
Yeah.
part of my life.
The infamous Lummi
Yeah,
Island.
that was not cool. I learned a lot though.
I was going to say educational, not cool, but educational.
Seriously.
Because it's just a Noma ripoff. That's all he did.
Yeah.
That's all that guy did.
Yeah, but we don't have Noma, so
No, I
we
know.
were excited.
That's
yeah.
why it makes sense.
And it was on an island. And
Oh,
you got
no,
to take that
it was-
little 18-car ferry.
It was
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
To work there.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah.
But I worked from 9 a.m. to 1 a.m.
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah, I bet.
And on Mondays, it was 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. That's where I learned how to forage, learned all that cool hyper seasonality. They were fermenting lightly, so that one I learned more there as well. But yeah, it was funny working in that kitchen because the cooks or someone be like, "Oh, this is like a really cool rye bread. What made you think of that?" "Oh, it was just a Noma recipe when I was there." Like it was just
I took it.
it was like, but like
They're like Behringer of Noma.
yeah, before Noma went down the whole fermentation route, that they were doing the time and place concept,
yeah.
like in the beginning, that concept could travel around the world and it was like fine,
Sure.
So like it worked really well on Lummi Island because it was just like that place is so beautiful and hyper seasonal and all that jazz. So
Yeah.
the concept made sense for sure, but it's funny looking back. Probably 40 or 50% of everything was just straight out of Noma when
Wow.
he learned and stuff. But anyway, it was a great experience. Other than all the negativity that came out of that place, it's all 100% true.
Yeah, no, I believe it.
I was a young lad
Yeah.
there, so I was definitely the runt of it all for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
no,
you
it's-
worked at the fake Noma, but Michelle, you worked at the
Yeah.
real Noma.
Yeah.
How did you get to Noma from Bellevue?
So first I was at University of Washington studying, actually trying to be a nurse at the time, but I changed gears, did a anthropology of food program in Rome, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm going to be a chef. So I totally changed my gears. I was like 20, and I went and got accepted to Institut Paul Bocuse in Lyon, in France. And so I started doing studying there, and as part of your last year at the school, you do like a really long internship work thing. And so I just sent an email. I sent an email probably a year before I needed to, and I remember receiving the email from David Zilber too, and I was like, oh my God, there's no way they've accepted me.
Wow.
And so that's how I got in, basically.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
And you just shipped off. And how long were you there?
I was there for almost a year.
Okay.
I extended my internship because I was like, I need to learn more. There's just like so much to do.
Okay.
I love being there because it was at the fermentation lab. It wasn't in the kitchen at all.
Oh, wow.
And so it just felt like all your dreams could come true there. Like, because like the budget was non-existent. It was during like 2020, 2021. So he was like, everyone was ramping up to produce the menu from the pandemic. So everyone who was there, we were just trying to like desperately get something on a menu because we were at the bottom. And then everybody else was also trying to get something on the menu because it's just a crazy experience, And like Renee would like come in and be like, I'm thinking of a flavor, or like, we're looking for this. And you're like, okay, what can I do? What can I do? And you're just like learning about this in the process.
Thinking of a flavor. Renee Redzepi would
Texture.
just come in and be like, I'm thinking of a flavor.
No, I mean like thinking of a texture,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
like that would start it.
And he just give you a prompt and you're like,
yeah.
oh shit. I gotta do what Renee says.
It sounds similar to the writer's room in Saturday Night Live.
I'm sure it is.
Like, you really want to get the sketch on the show, and then someone's just kind of coming in being like, I want to do we're having this person in. And
Yeah, that's a great analogy
Yeah.
from what she has
Yeah.
explained a lot to me.
And like the best part was for probably 3 months, it was just me and my boss, Jason White at the time. And he was just teaching me everything. And because the restaurant was closed, I was able to experiment nonstop.
Wow.
So I would just be constantly coming out with anything I can. I was making all the koji. I was doing all the stuff, mixing the thousands of buckets of beef garum for Popple because they opened up the burger place at that time as well. And I just did so much fun things there. It was like, I actually ended up getting one of my ferments on the menu too, which was a strawberry rhubarb tamari. And it was, I can't remember what it was on that dish, but it's on in the Noma 2.0 book.
Amazing.
So-
I'm so happy to hear that story. Like, what a vivid description, right?
seriously, what was it like to leave though?
Oh my God, you don't even, like heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I could imagine.
But
I
you're
mean,
set though. Like you did it. Like you graduated, you know?
Yeah. But at the time I really wanted to stay there, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
And so it was funny because it actually brings it back to Jaimon, because I left probably like July 10th ish, and he went on this Copenhagen journey. When did you go?
July 5th.
Yeah, so we grazed each other without
Wow.
knowing that we were
Yeah.
going to graze each other,
Passing ships.
but
Yeah.
hanging out with the same people. So there's
They were
another.
hanging out with the same people.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Holy shit.
So he was staying with one of his friends there that I hung out with him because he's from Seattle. Anyway, so as I was finishing my journey and going back to start my business, he was going on his like basically first trip out of America.
Wow.
And he's like, yeah, you can talk a little bit about that if you want.
There's not
but-
much to say, but yeah, I worked at Geranium, which is another
Okay.
fancy restaurant, I guess you could say. I don't know.
Just another feather in my cap.
I don't want
One of many.
as a cook, you like want to reach that pinnacle, you know. But
Sure.
once
Yeah.
you get there, you're like, this is horrible, you know. So like, I'm always like reluctant, like to talk about it. It's just kind of funny. I don't know.
What a full body heave.
Yeah. to be fair, I was just not breathing that well. And then you asked me a question. I'm like, oh, I need to take a breath. And like,
You're not channeling Krusty the Clown.
Yeah,
Like,
I need to breathe actually to be able to talk.
that's true.
So it was part
That
side.
is true.
What my favorite part about this whole thing is that, like, so he got hired to Geranium, and it didn't work out because he has the cutest cat ever named Girlfriend, and he was like, it's too complicated to bring her,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah. You're not going to leave
And
your
so-
girlfriend behind.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And
No, yeah, I was proud. I was proud of myself though, because
Yeah.
you go into those situations, the best restaurant in the world, or whatever you want to call it, and they have 60 people working for free. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
and then they have
It's a
maybe
sweatshop.
and then they have maybe 20 people that are paid,
Yeah.
and so you really have to like set yourself apart if you want to get paid, because the competition is so fierce, and it's
Right.
Copenhagen, the literal food capital
Yeah.
of the world. And I was there for about a month, and they offered me a job.
Oh, wow.
Because I do pride myself on, I may be a really nervous person, but when I'm in the kitchen, I'm like, it's not rocket science. We're not
Yeah.
saving lives. We're literally serving wealthy, like snobby people. Like, it's fine. Like,
Right.
you don't, but like,
It's fine.
but when you're in those, like, when you're in those kitchens, the pressure's on, and a lot
For
of people
sure.
are like shaking and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of just like, you know, like,
Get it?
Like, yeah, I'm just kind of like joking
not like
around.
that.
And I'm like,
you're
just, and I think they took a liking to that
Yeah.
attitude.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah, they offered me a job, and they're like, and I'm like, well, can I come back in March? And then they're like, yeah, no problem. And then like October, because this was in July, because it was like, you know, a whole year later, practically, I'd come back. And then around November, like, no, we need you now, otherwise you don't have the job. I'm like, oh, I don't have the job because I'm not
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's how that worked. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
confidence in the kitchen bit them in the ass later because they were like, "Need you right now." You're like, "Forget it, man."
Who knows what the story
Okay,
was?
that is actually such a funny point. That, like, Jaimon is he's like a Buddha with everything. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, what will be is meant to be. And then like next to him, there's me who's just like losing her mind.
Really?
Like, being like,
But you complement each other then.
very
like,
much.
Yeah.
You're like, "Hey, you got to care about this. It's
Yeah.
important. We're all gonna die." And you're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
No, you're right.
So this
Thank
just theme
you.
keeps coming. It's
Oh,
really
you're
funny.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, then so anyway, I only spent a couple months there. And so she was starting her business, and then it all ties back around.
Yeah.
Because immediately, right when I came back from Copenhagen, I was like, well, I don't want to work at a job anymore. I
Yeah.
want to do my own thing like her.
Yeah.
At that point, you know, I'm like 12, 13 years in. You know. Anyway, so yeah, and then it just rolls back into, well, we all started our concepts.
Yeah, it was like serendipity, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's the word. It's like
I think so.
Yeah.
because of Girlfriend, the cat. I'm like, I got to have Jaimon because things didn't work out. Noma, I'm like, we just like
Yeah, yeah.
worked out. It was beautiful.
Girlfriend brought you a girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
Is girlfriend still around?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
What kind of cat is she?
What do you
What
The
does she
cutest
like?
cat in the world.
The cutest black cat.
She's a
in the
black
world.
cat.
Yeah.
She's got like a
Love a black
big
cat.
white spot on her belly, and
Cute.
she greets us on her back every day.
Oh,
And she loves
Hello.
belly scratches.
she does the social flop.
Yeah.
Yes.
When
Oh,
they-
yeah. It's
I
a
just-
thud, too.
Yeah. She'll be like, "Ugh."
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
That
adorable.
means she loves you. Your girlfriends love you. Shall we do the news?
I think so. Let's do the news. But first,
Personal story. I tried to go to the Russian supermarket in Parkland, Tacoma, Borderlands, and they were closed on Sunday because I think they're religious. I think
yeah.
the people who run Marvel's supermarket are churchy, and so they're not open on Sunday. I was going to get like interesting Russian items that I didn't understand. So I went to Tsar's Super Saver, home of the best fried chicken in the world. Talk about that later.
And not Russian Orthodox.
And they were open as hell. And they have a lot of Filipino and Asian stuff. They also have Armenian stuff. They have some Russian stuff. It's sort of a mishmash of
That's
different.
interesting.
They have a lot of Mexican stuff, but like not all countries of the world are represented. There's no Scandinavian foods there, right? It's specific. Anyway, they normally have a truck called Taste of Samoa in the parking lot, and I was excited to go there. That wasn't there either.
Huh.
We just freestyled, but what they did have were these Samoan pastries.
Samoan pastries.
They are called Keke Saiga, Kekesaiga. They are heavy as fuck. They're like dense as a neutron star.
That looks so cool.
I couldn't.
So excited.
They say they're fresh baked, so they're day olds by now.
Sure.
I Googled them and found someone's blog about like an American living in Samoa and non-American Samoa and talking about the foods that he likes to get there. And he mentioned these and I'm like, oh, great. I'm going to find out what they're like. And he's like, these are my favorite street food in Samoa. They're made of 2 different kinds of dough. Delicious. And I'm like, what is it? So Mark, I would like you to read the ingredients because I think you'll find them interesting.
All right. We got flour first. That's a good sign. Corn syrup, garlic, soy sauce. Does that say granola oil?
Granola oil. Steven
That's-
pointed out it's probably supposed to be canola oil,
Yeah.
but I like thinking.
I like the idea of like crushing up some like oats and almonds and raisins and extracting
Pumpkin
the oils.
seeds,
of each.
raisin oil.
It's a good idea for another dish.
We've also got brown sugar and onion.
I have no fucking idea what these are going to taste like. I have no clue.
My guess is that the brown sugar is going to be like a shortcut to caramelize onion. Is that the
I don't know.
the idea? Maybe
I do not know. They also seem like they're dry. It could be anything inside.
They do seem.
They look a little dry, but
Yeah.
I'm dying. I would love to.
Yeah.
very
Let's-
curious.
just-
Let's do.
This is like our life right here. We
Let's,
love
like-
to snack.
Yeah.
We're snackers.
I feel like we could probably each eat half. I mean, maybe they're terrible.
I know. Like maybe we won't want more than half.
Yeah, right.
Share.
Maybe they're amazing.
All right. Whoa. They break sort of gummily. All right.
They have little fork marks.
Parching.
Oh, I don't like it. No. It tastes unbaked. What? I hate this.
I like it.
You like it?
You like it?
I like
You
the
psycho.
texture.
It needs something.
This is a nice snack to find when you have nothing else.
Yeah.
No.
Why were these made?
It's a nice snack to put some melted Gruyere on.
Do you guys want to share this? I have a Topo Chico tangerine if anyone wants to get the...
Yeah.
I hate this.
I need some hydration. I'm getting the soy.
Are we animals? Like what?
The soy flavor is good.
Good enough for me.
I like the soy flavor that comes through, but it's just the texture is such a problem for me.
Really?
It's so dry. Like this.
It's
But
very.
also gummy.
It's very dry, but the gummy is what gets me. I'm gonna
Yeah,
eat
me
this
too.
whole thing.
All right, you can have the other one too. But like,
Amazing.
where's all the brown sugar and soy sauce? And
Yeah.
Yeah. I get the soy sauce. I don't super get the brown sugar, but I also don't know that I want to super get the brown sugar.
It tastes better with the Topo Chico tangerine.
Does it really?
Wow, that's fun.
I also have now. It got better just now when I finished eating it. It got more soy saucy.
Yeah, you
Almost
get
tastes like
you get it in the
Are
thing.
Are they
It's
supposed to
kinda-
be warm?
Oh, that might be. It
Are they
might be
supposed
that
to be
we're
microwaved?
maybe
Like,
we're
so much
just-
Gruyere. Michelle was saying earlier that for breakfast, we do a sound check and we ask everyone what they had for breakfast. And she said microwaved Gruyere with nothing else. I'm also going to open up this Dragon's Head wild fermented cider. I wrote about them on my cider map, which is not published yet, but I had not had the cider. There we go.
Right. Oh my god.
There we go.
Perfect.
Opa.
Dinnernet bloopers.
Or glass.
I'm having a blast with this thing. What is it called again? I probably won't go out of my way to buy one myself. But
Sure.
I would love to have a fresh one.
I mean, yeah, the freshness
that's good. Ooh, the
needs to
cider's
be
good.
in place in order to really properly evaluate it. Oh,
I like
this
it.
is wonderful. So tell us a little bit about what the...
Well, so all I know is that it's wild fermented, and I believe that what that means is the yeast from the skin of the apple is what.
Yeah. Right, fermentation experts, tell us about wild
Do
fermentation.
you know what makes it wild fermented cider versus other kinds of fermented cider?
It's just They didn't put any like packet of yeast in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just from the air.
Yeah.
Just whatever's coming around.
I like it. Do you like it, Mark?
Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah,
It's
great.
got a. What is better about this than a
quite
cider?
good,
I
actually.
dislike. It has more of that sense of apple skin that I'm always kind of looking for out of a cider. That tart kind of snappiness.
Dragon's Head wild fermented cider. This cider is fermented using only the native wild yeasts present on the thick skin of the apples. Earthy aroma and flavors, slightly sour, dry.
Yeah.
Dragon's Head is a family-owned cidery on Vashon Island, Washington. It looks like a dream sequence. It looks gorgeous out there on Vashon, so I want to go out there.
It's very smooth and balanced, though. I could easily drink this.
I like it.
I'm not a big drinker, but
Well, maybe you could be a cider person.
maybe. I thought cider was normally drier, so I'm actually really surprised about this one.
There's so many different kinds. I'm still learning, of course. But, I think this is delicious.
Yeah, really is. Well,
Got some news.
Yeah.
What's the news?
What is the news? Well, I think the first news item is the place that we record this podcast in, Oyster Cellar, is changing their hours from Tuesday to Saturday, 3 to 9, to Tuesday through Saturday, noon to 7.
Okay.
Yeah, they're still going to have their happy hour, 3 to 6, but now you can have oyster lunch
Okay. Finally.
downtown, which I think is kind of rad. Yeah, I think that's just
How often are you going to have oyster lunch now?
I think at least once a week.
Every fucking day?
Yeah, not every day, but
How often have you walked by and yearned for an oyster lunch?
There have been many times when I have been working and just thinking like, I wish I could go somewhere healthy-ish for lunch, but also like good. You
Okay.
know what I mean? And like something that doesn't feel so utilitarian, and that would fit the bill for that so
So
well.
now your dream is complete.
It is
It's
complete.
become a reality.
Yeah.
That's good news. Good news, everyone.
Totally. For a change.
Here we go. In Roosevelt, this is per Naomi Tomke at Seattle Met. In Roosevelt, Human People Beer opened a beer cafe. I love that they call it that, a beer cafe, which is an all-day concept. They're doing Seawolf pastries in the morning, sandwiches from Ben's Bread, and the beer from Human People, which is a brewery. I think the folks, it's industry veterans. They're from San Diego, from Modern Times Brewing. So they're just setting up shop here. I don't think it's that they're based in San Diego and they're opening an offshoot here. I think they have moved to Seattle. So now they're brewing as Human People in Roosevelt.
Yeah,
That is my belief.
that's my understanding too.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I think that they got some really interesting sounding stuff over there. I'm
Yeah.
curious to check them out. All right, more news. Tacos Extranjeros has started up their Mariscos concept called La Maria, and they have announced that they will be doing that at Fair Isle Brewing, doing really great seafood Mexican concept items like scallop crudo and
want that.
hamachi tostadas. It's great. I tried it a couple weeks ago when they were first starting it. It's fantastic food.
Okay, so they're just
So-
not doing the trompo as often.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't know that part.
yeah.
Which was
Noted.
What drew you in first, right? The trompo.
That was what drew me in because I am a very big fan of an al pastor trompo.
Marco loves the
And,
trompo.
Yeah, I was enjoying that sort of becoming a trend. You know, it's like, not that I'm like trying to chase trends, but when a trend emerges that aligns with things I already like, it's very fun.
Well,
It's rare.
imagine though if they had started out doing Mariscos and didn't have a trompo to lure you in, you wouldn't know how delicious the Mariscos are.
I might not, right?
may not.
Exactly.
Would you say that's one of your favorite restaurants in the city?
You know, it is.
Yeah?
I would say, yeah. That trompo is fantastic.
have a
And
friend here.
Yeah. What's up, dude? That's what's going to
That's
happen.
part
in
of being
our-
on the Today Show.
Yeah. It's a feature, not a bug.
I think so too. Sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you.
Yeah.
Have you guys tried the spot?
No, but I've been like looking at their photos for a very long
me
time,
too.
salivating.
I want
Actually,
to go.
Yeah. And the Mariscos concept is, I would say, even better. They have this scallop crudo that they're making with this serrano lime, agua chile, that also has a shrimp and a clam broth going on too. It's really, and then avocados and pickled onions side of it. It's just big, great flavor.
Do they have to change their name? Are they not limited to tacos now?
They are not limited to tacos. So they're calling it La Marea when it's
Okay.
Mariscos, and they're calling it Tacos Extranjeros.
So it just
when
changes its name.
Yeah.
That's okay.
See,
It has
everyone
dual
does it.
identities. Yeah.
Concept within a concept.
Totally
within a
fine.
concept.
Yeah.
do it.
I got my Best in Seattle approved. My article that I'll write every
Oh,
summer. I got it
fantastic.
approved by the new arts editor. So
Oh, I love it.
they wanted in October this year. It originally started out in June, July, and then last year didn't run until September. And now we're bumping it to October. So I have some time.
Okay.
But I have a lot of things on my to-do list that I
Yeah.
want to check out.
Right.
I have time.
Rad.
Yeah. Any more news?
Any more news?
Eater almost went on strike and then didn't go on strike via the Vox Media Union. They, at the 11th hour, they came to an agreement. So we writers all got notes saying, you may not get an email reply because we might be on strike.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that didn't happen. That's just sort of news to our relating to our lives and not restaurants.
It's media news.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I am still working on a seafood map update for Eater, and we're freelancers, so that strike, we're not involved in any of that stuff, but we don't want to be scabs, that's for damn sure.
No,
so
exactly.
I put the work on that on hold just to kind of be like, all right, well, I'm not going to be submitting this if they're on strike.
Well,
you know,
we
like
wouldn't be scabs. A person who was hired to be hairy because he was on strike would be the scab.
I would argue
There's no situation wherein you and I get any work if they're on strike.
Well, yeah,
like,
right.
It doesn't reach us.
I could envision a scenario where some like New York editor is like, "Oh, hey, we got the schedule. Could you submit this to me?" I'd be like,
"Oh, I see.
No,
no. I think they would just have to wait for Harry to come back.
Yeah,
no one's talking to the freelancers. They're just going to get different freelancers.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway,
yeah, but then they didn't go on strike.
They didn't go on strike.
The end. It says an overwhelming 90% of members of Vox Media Union had voted Thursday to authorize a strike if a deal was not reached. By the time their current contract expired at 11:59 p.m. on June 12th, but they did. As of now, a deal has been reached. There will not be any pickets outside Vox Media's office in New York.
I think that's good news because one of the issues that was a crux of that discussion was AI usage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I would imagine that, you know, with that sort of 90% real overwhelming response, I would imagine that something favorable was put into the contract to protect.
Once I got asked to sign a contract for a nameless corporation that I won't name, ask me privately. And I was just writing a freelance story, and they wanted to pay a lot, like an unusually large amount for a pretty normal like listicle of like best restaurants in city. And in the contract, it said, we have the rights to use your name, voice, and likeness in perpetuity for one article. Yeah. And I said, I'm not signing this. Like, fucking forget it.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll sign it if you take this whole section out of the contract. And they said, okay. And then I never worked for them again because I had already written it.
Yeah.
I wrote it, and then they're like, oh, you want to get paid? Sign this. So that's nefarious. And I'm glad they worked it out.
Hearing any of that.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder how they will start doing stuff like that. And I guess that's how.
Yeah. They didn't even have my voice. Like, I don't know what that means to them, but it's probably like something I haven't thought of yet. And I don't want to find out by signing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a hologram of me 50 years after I've died or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not. I flatter myself. Yeah.
A hologram
of news.
I think that's all we got for now. It's sort of, this is more of a national news.
Yeah.
Week
There's a lot of things that are about to drop that have not dropped yet. So we've got a pin in them for when they drop.
Yeah. Well, let's get on to the second part of the show.
Yeah, let's do a little roundtable discussion. We just want to talk about like trials and tribulations of being a pop-up that doesn't have a permanent home, right? That's unhoused. And the difficulties that you've found in carrying all your shit to a different location, you know? It's like you're couch surfing, right?
It's a topic that we've talked with other pop-ups about, but everyone kind of has a different take on it. So it's kind of interesting every single time. So what are the advantages and disadvantages that you guys have encountered?
Well, the obvious one is like rent and labor.
Right.
It's like, wow, that's awesome, you know?
Yeah.
But no, we have... if you want to break it down, really, we have like 4 locations, you know?
Okay.
It's like this weird little commissary kitchen, her parents' house, our apartment, and it's just like, it's so strange. The thing I'd want to touch on, though, is that we're really fortunate for her parents having space for us, and she got it WSDA approved.
Oh, wow.
No way.
Like we're real.
Smart.
Like we're a real business.
Yeah, of course.
And for the retail products and stuff like that. And it's just like, I still chuckle about it every time I think about it. I'm like, I can't believe you got this like health inspector and like all these licenses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I did the same thing, but for food, it's a little easier. And retail's a lot harder. It's like a food processor license.
Yeah,
right? Is that
the
what it is?
WSDA food processor license.
Yeah.
And thankfully, like the health inspector that I have, she's just the sweetest lady that was just so fascinated with what I was doing.
Great.
And she just was like, "Yep, this looks all up to par. It's beautiful."
Awesome.
So
Yeah, and the I guess the complaining or the negative side of it, it's like we're just running all over town,
Yeah.
every single day because
Right.
I forgot the vacuum sealer. Oh, I forgot.
Oh my God.
Oh, I forgot the.
we have a cart,
don't even know.
and every day it's full twice.
Yeah,
We're going somewhere. We're taking something somewhere.
I really needed that hotel pan. I
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
needed it. Like, it's just really obnoxious,
I can
silly things.
I can hear the stressfulness of that situation when you say that sentence.
Babe, I really
like
did need it though.
that.
Yeah. You know, and then like everything's spread out. Like we're in Ballard, that's in Bellevue.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then other things in like Kirkland and like downtown, whatever, you know, the situation is. So an hour here, an hour there. But this is just like, that's something we shouldn't be complaining about. We're very privileged.
Definitely, yeah.
But it's just an interesting perspective for sure. Because it like, we could do like the thing in a day, but instead it
Oh
takes
my
a
God.
week,
Yeah.
Sure.
you know?
Well, to be fair, we asked you to complain. We were like, what are the difficulties? You're not out here complaining. We asked you to do that. Thank you for fulfilling the request.
So that's obviously very, very an interesting aspect. And then just finding creative solutions to things that don't exist in professional settings.
Yeah. What was your first pop-up like, and how does it differ from how you do it now? Like, how has your process evolved?
I mean, to be honest, it hasn't that much because sure, I'll brag a little bit. I'm a very, very organized person. Like, I'm very good at that type of stuff. That's like my strong suit.
Yeah.
We used to run the Fair Isle thing
Okay.
with Kevin at Beast and Cleaver.
Okay.
So that was nice. I shifted my operations over there, and he was very accommodating for all that.
Were you able to keep stuff on site, or did you have to bring it all in? Oh, that's
So
good.
like I would. It was funny because I was running that managing that kitchen, so I was occupied with that. But looking back, I'm like, man, I really should have been cranking out pop-ups like as much as I could, because I could have done them. Like I could do them in like a couple days.
Yeah.
But like the pop-up that we have coming up on the 26th, I started prepping for that 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Sure.
Just because logistical things.
Yeah.
You got to start the fermentations fermenting.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
and that's another thing. If you want, that's kind of a different conversation.
Sure.
But it's, we have this massive pantry, so I just kind of like open the drawer and I'm
Yeah.
like, what are we
What's
gonna do
for dinner?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then so like we kind of just pieced the menu together like that.
Yeah.
But
So you both do the menu together. Like it's not like you're like, I'm going to ferment it, and you're like, I'm going to plan the menu.
He does most of the menu. I mean, he bounces off ideas off of me and stuff like that. But I just do parts of it. Like I'll be like, I usually choose what salami I'm gonna make, and I do the drink part of it. So I do the drink bases, and Jen does the cocktail part of it. So I make the base.
Oh, we should
juice
mention you
bases.
also work with Jen Ray.
Yes. Yeah.
Who we know from Ramy, but who's old school. Like,
Yeah. Cocktail genius.
yeah.
She's the best.
And Som, she is sommelier also. She's got a wine background.
I think
she's definitely very educated.
Yes.
I'm not sure of particular titles.
Yes. I know she has a wine background because I
Yeah.
interviewed her for
Oh,
the
yeah,
Ramy
she's-
story.
Yeah. Yeah, I met her at No Anchor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mark, do you want to talk about
That's
No
all right.
Anchor?
Oh, that was just one of my favorite restaurants in town when it existed.
Yeah, thank you. That was
Yeah, you were running the kitchen there?
a whole other life, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No, they opened it with good old Jeffrey Vance, one of my mentors. I will say we're good friends, and he ditched me like months into the project.
Oh.
No, he had a bunch of stuff, and he was kind of over Seattle, etc. He came from Spur Gastropub. Do you remember that place?
I do,
Totally.
yeah.
So it was kind of like in the same vein-ish of that whole thing. But yeah, I learned a ton from him. But that was he moved on fairly quickly, and that was my first chef job.
Okay.
Wow.
And so that I was like 24
Oh, wow.
at the time.
Uh-huh.
And I was so naive. I was not reading the room. Like,
Oh, really?
like at all.
I'm going to do what I like.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I got cool ideas.
Yeah.
Didn't
I mean,
make sense most of the time, but
the cool ideas were what I loved about it. But yeah, it was a very difficult restaurant to, I think, perceive from the outside because it really read as a beer place.
I had thought it was a bar. Yeah.
no, it was funny because it was a beer bar at the end of the day. But then you'd walk in and order smoked and pickled mussels.
Oh, really?
Or a duck breast. You know?
Yeah, right.
Or
And some beer.
Yeah, and just
But
like
it was weird beer. Yeah.
It was weird beer. I love
Yeah.
their slogan, Chris made up. It was weird beer and rad food. Like, it
Yeah.
was just such a fun time.
So that's Chris Elford, who now has
He's got Here Today Brewing
Here Today.
as the beer endeavor.
and he had Trade Winds.
Yeah, during
That-
the pandemic,
Yeah.
he shifted No Anchor to Trade Winds
Right.
Tavern, which was a
Okay.
really fun place too.
He does all those Halloween cocktails.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part
Yeah.
about working there because I ran
Yeah.
all 3 of his
You did?
spaces.
Okay.
Navy Strength and the
Navy
Vinnies.
Strength was the word that I was trying to think of. Navy Strength.
I remember the food at Navy Strength being totally killer too. So that explains that.
That was really fun.
Yeah.
That was just like a party, fun vibe type thing.
It was you the whole time.
Yeah, yeah. But
The Scooby Doo reveal.
yeah, the fun thing was their Halloween though. Like
Yeah.
all the employees would write down this massive Microsoft spreadsheet of all the costumes they're gonna wear every single day, and then all of Chris's drinks were like in the theme of some
Yeah.
horror movie, and they were. That was right when I got sober, so I stopped drinking. But I just remember like going in there and I was like, those cocktails look so cool.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. But that was always really fun to witness and kind of be in the
Yeah.
back and watch that whole thing happen. It just looked like a fun party over there all
Yeah.
the time.
For sure.
Michelle, did you ever go to any of these places?
No, this was like I was living in Europe during that time,
Okay.
but I always hear everybody like talking so
They're
highly of
cute.
it.
Well, Navy Strength's still there.
Yeah, Navy Strength.
It's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Vinny's.
Well, I'm curious to hear what's on the light sleeper dinner menu
Yeah.
because that's on the 26th of June.
Yes.
Yeah. 2 tickets left. Did you sell them yet?
Yeah, we have 1 seat
1 seat left.
for 6 p.m. and then 1 seat for 7:30.
I
So
see.
2 like solo
I
diners. Those
see.
are the hardest to sell.
Got it.
so
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my mind, we're good. It's
Yep.
fine. Thank
Okay.
you.
What's
Thank you
on the
for
menu?
buying a ticket.
What's on the menu?
It's our first vegan dinner.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's fun.
Okay.
That was a really good challenge. Yeah, we making these really fun nixtamalized cherry tomatoes
Ooh.
that we're pickling in tomato vinegar that we made.
Good.
Yeah.
Fun.
I think you guys got to tell us what constitutes a nixtamalized tomato because that's such a
Yeah, I mean,
different.
I wish I had better. I wish I could articulate myself better sometimes, but it's essentially calcium hydroxide. It just creates this like really robust environment around like skins or the outsides of these products or anything you really set your mind to. The cell structure and it's introducing so much calcium into the thing. It just like it's just really strong.
Yeah.
And so after it marinates essentially in this solution, you can cook that thing for indefinitely.
Yeah.
And just things won't fall apart. I find I don't think that's necessarily fermentation or even
It's
Preservation.
nixtamalization. Yeah.
it's its own thing for sure, but
Yes.
it can be applied in that same like route. Like it's a very common thing for pickles, like
Yeah.
Right.
like a real cucumber pickle. When you see a can of pickles at the grocery store, most of the time they're nixtamalized because they'll deteriorate over
Yeah.
time if that isn't in there.
The most fascinating one I've seen that Jaimon has done is with like a blackberry. Because I mean, blackberries fall apart immediately.
Yeah, right.
So he nixtamalized a blackberry and then he poached it in a delicious liquid that I can't remember, but it was just so cool because it was like cooked for so long.
Yeah.
But it was a blackberry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the texture is like a raw, fresh blackberry.
Wow.
But I poached it in like a bunch of verjus and kelp. And so when you just ate it, it was just like an explosion of like seaweed pretty
Amazing.
much. And then
Wild.
Yeah, and it's just like fun kind of experimenting and trying. You just have to like know the rules of these things and then you just can like manipulate
Yeah.
the hell out of it once
Yeah.
you like understand the foundation.
So are you the
rules.
nixtamalizer in this case and not you?
No, he's the nixtamalizer.
You're like, I ferment things.
Yeah.
You nixtamalize.
And so we're like, serving that with a fun little lacto fermented cashew pate
Ooh,
that we're
sounds
making.
good.
It's weird trying to explain this menu because it
Yeah.
sounds like gibberish. And
I'm just looking for like a couple hits so
Yeah.
that people who are listening can imagine.
No, yeah, and then we just called a dish mushroom mayhem because I don't
like
know what
it.
the hell to call this thing because
Sure.
it's just a bucket of mushrooms, and it's just like, but went down the vein of confit,
Yeah.
roasted, pickled,
Yeah.
fermented, misoed, garumed,
Wow.
foamed,
Dang.
sauced, fried. It's just like, it just like kept going. And I was like trying to write the menu, like the typing, the printed menu out. And I'm like, this is going to sound so stupid. Like I have to just like shorten it and like call it a name, you know? That's like the entree of the thing. So that's
Cool.
We're making a really, really tasty lacto-fermented potato bread too.
Oh, wow.
I've gotten all the testers and I can attest it is incredible. So
That sounds exciting. I'd eat all those things. I'm not even vegan.
Yeah.
yeah, that's going to be the fun thing actually, because this is our first vegan dinner and like we're going to show how much fermentation can give flavor, you know, because vegan's kind of hard in general, to like add depth and flavor. And this is exciting for us because we get to demonstrate how much flavor our ferments can provide for vegan food.
Yeah. I'm always looking for richness in vegan food.
Yes.
Like I'm looking for lots of coconut fat or avocado fat or
you're really
peanut
just
butter or something like that.
Exactly. You're looking for fat, acid.
That's
umami,
what I feel like is always missing.
And when we're doing these things, it's like, oh, it just makes sense to do vegan. But then in the back of my mind, I'm just like, I'm not confident enough to pull that off, like at all. Because it's like, just throw cream in it. It sounds awesome.
Yeah,
it's great,
right?
You know?
Sure.
That's what I do.
Yeah. But over time, when I've forced myself to cook like this more and more, it's just like, well, just remove that. And then we'll put that tamari there. And there's your salt and there's your umami. And
It's like you're mocktailing a cocktail, right?
yes, exactly. Actually,
That's a really interesting way to put it. I like that.
Yeah.
So it's a fun little thing. We're just a little exploring. I feel like the more interesting part is our retail, really.
Yeah.
And selling the ferments. Doing the farmers markets and building a retail brand is a monster.
Which farmers markets are you at?
I do the Ballard Farmers Market every Sunday.
Okay.
That's the only one that I do.
Okay.
And I basically have like a table, I have my ferments, and I have everything sampled out. So like if you come, you can taste every single product. We can talk about it. It's a great time.
Cool.
A lot of people just come to chat about fermentation.
Yeah.
Which I love. And actually this is where the vegan idea kind of came, because I have a lot of vegetarian and vegan customers.
Yeah.
And probably like 95% of what I do, 99% of the ferments I make are vegan. So I was like, it's only natural that we need to make a vegan dinner.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
All the people you meet. Otherwise, you waste those contacts.
bring these
Exactly.
out. We don't have to do them right now, but I just want to remind.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
yeah, we brought basically
This
the
is
whole
like-
table.
Look
of
at all
ferments.
your potions and
Here's
tinctures.
a talking point.
Yeah.
For a
Yeah.
while.
Oh, I
Wow.
love it.
So what are these used for? Cocktails?
So
We have to talk about every single one of them. to
Yes.
explain
Okay.
that.
No, please do. We would love that.
some of them are cocktail bases. The vinegars I actually use as cocktail bases for our pop-up, not just like fully, but as a component of my juice base. I often use that. So we could start off with that. One of the first things that I think like our creative love connection, I feel like, was this shrub that we made, which was a peach bell pepper. That was like one of the things that we used to text about. But so yeah, that was the bell pepper vinegar, and it's just like, you know, I get really nice bell peppers from like basically everything I use is from Washington. So I support like local farmers, get the best stuff, and that's why everything tastes so good too.
Yeah.
So this bell pepper is just, I juice the bell pepper, ferment it with an apple cider mother. It's just
You can do
super
little
tasty.
drops.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a red bell pepper vinegar.
Yeah. And it can go savory. It can go
Yeah.
sweet. We've done a lot of pickling stuff with it. It's part of the marinating of the tomatoes that we're doing, the
Yeah.
nixtamalized tomatoes, as well as the tomato
Oh, that's
vinegar.
great. It's brilliant.
I think it.
Oh, I love
as a
it.
non-drinker, I think that with tequila would just kill.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the drink that I
yeah,
talked about
sure.
for years. It was in the first pop-up Jen made. So it was bell pepper, peach, tequila, orange. It was the
Wonderful.
orange flavor, the bell pepper, the tequila, and it was mind-blowing.
Killer.
And then we have also the cherry blossom peach vinegar,
Ooh.
which is, so this is made with peach vinegar, juiced peaches, fermented peaches, and then we infuse petals, cherry blossom petals that we collect. So it's like a micro season in Seattle, and a lot of the things that we
Right.
like to do is just like see what's around us,
And
pick
capture
it,
them.
capture it, yeah. So
Oh, wow.
you can really taste it.
That's incredible. That's so, it has a peachiness. It's tart. There's like that little background of floral.
This is beef garum. So she could probably explain a little better, but a garum is essentially a fish sauce. And you kind of use the enzymes from fish guts, to ferment it into that wonderful.
That's what the Romans ate.
Yes.
The ancient Romans. Yeah.
Yes.
It comes from the ancient Romans because you'd put a bunch of fish and a bunch of salt into a barrel, and the enzymes from the stomach would break down the flesh and liquefy it, and you'd come out with this deeply umami liquid. And the modernized kind of like Noma version, then that I think that's what they came up with, that was using koji, because koji also has enzymes in there. Koji breaks down carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and it breaks them down and liquefies them in a sense.
Can you explain for people who might not know what koji is?
Yeah, so koji is a mycelium that you can grow on different starchy things.
Okay.
So like rice, barley that's been pearled, like it needs direct access to starches.
So you
to
can't
eat.
have the husk on it?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically we take a bunch of beef, we take some koji, it breaks down the beef,
Okay.
liquefies it, and it's beautiful. It's
Nice.
delicious.
It's like
Wild.
a piranha or something.
It's kind of just like the most intense beef stock.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's
Let's eat it.
That's pretty salty because it's like liquid salt.
Yeah. All
Great.
right. Going in.
It's all of the salt from the cow's body.
All the salt.
My water removed.
I wonder.
It's super fascinating seeing like we fill like buckets full of them.
Yeah.
And then when we strain it out, there's like nothing left but the koji. It's like broken down. As long as like whatever you put in the bucket doesn't have like tendons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It has
It'll
direct
just consume it.
Yes.
Whoa. It's like the deepness of flavor of like the crust of a steak.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is. Definitely.
And again,
in
it's like
liquid
Oh,
form.
that's delicious.
Isn't that wild?
I can
Yeah,
think of
and-
so many things I want to put that on.
Yeah, it's kind of like so the way we do it though, like she mentioned, koji is essentially replacing the fish guts of those natural enzymes. So
Yeah.
we're providing that. So in
I like
in
that a lot.
question, you can do whatever the hell you want as long as you understand that rule.
Yeah.
And so for us, you can do this at room temperature for a year or whatever.
Yeah.
But we mix it with, water, salt, koji, and beef or whatever. We're about to do that one next. But and we hold it at 141 degrees Fahrenheit, right above that temperature danger zone.
Okay.
So it's safe, especially with the amount of salt
Yeah.
that's in it. We hold it at that temperature for 3 to 4 weeks, and it's done because it's just the koji at that temperature just flies.
it's the
Likes it,
enzymes
yeah.
that
It just-
are working. The
yeah.
koji is no longer alive.
What do you use to heat it at 141 degrees?
And that's even
What's
funner
it
to
in?
talk about.
Yeah.
Funner, is that a word?
Yes, it is now.
It's all DIY. Like you kind of
Yeah.
like there's no dedicated thing that does this, but
At this scale.
at this scale,
Sure. Yeah.
right now we're using
The
They're like-
warmers for
they
the
warm barrels of honey.
Yeah.
It's hard to
Okay.
explain.
All right.
That's like our heating element, and we just put it in like an insulated wine fridge or
Okay.
a fridge
Yeah.
of any kind because it needs like insulation to lock in that
Right,
heat.
yeah.
And then we have these like probes that know the temperature of the inside of that chamber, and so once it gets to a certain temperature, it
Turns
kills
off.
the heat for the
Okay.
thing, and then it kind of drops. And then once it drops to a certain temperature, it kicks back on. It kind of just like hovers right at that temperature we want it
Wow.
forever. And so we could just keep things in there for
Yeah.
months and weeks and whatever.
Trying to imagine your laboratory.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty. It's pretty fun because
Yeah.
we're trying to open the storefront. So I was like, oh, we need like a lot of product to have on hand if we plan to do this. And so like literally from like July to February of this year, we were doing nothing but fermenting. Like we have 2,000 pounds of random products.
Wow.
Various products.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway, there's just like, we have an entire wall of just like misos.
probably
just,
like
everywhere.
like between 25 to 30 different ferments.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because like everything we make is very small batch. We just love to keep creating and making
Yeah.
different stuff. So it's like always something interesting.
So does
you
the
know?
room temperature have to be a certain temperature as well?
No, you're relying on salt
Okay.
to keep it safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
You need to up the salt
So
percentage.
do you store them in like an indoor room, or or in a root cellar or in a basement? Like it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. All right.
I think in Roman times they like the sun. It was like in a terracotta plot.
Yeah. But they had way more salt.
Yeah,
That's
and they
the
had
cool
like
part.
Yeah, you should touch on that. Yeah,
That is the cool part about this technique is because you're able to keep it out at high temperature, you're able to lower the salt content.
I see.
So it's not just like pure salt.
Yeah.
And also what's interesting is like when you do these salt fish fermentations, when the Romans did it and covered in salt, at that point you're killing also so much microbes that there's not much microbial activity anyway. So it's kind of similar. It's just like a modernized, faster version.
Okay.
But there's low microbial activity in both of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
in other words, you can safely focus on flavor rather than
Right.
Yes.
Safety.
Yeah. And you can make it out of mushrooms, like which leads us perfectly into the
you should
most
try-
amazing one.
You should try that one for sure.
Which is shiitake.
We're just gonna
Do you
blow
need
out
to
your
shake?
palate.
Do you need to shake it up?
So it's shiitake, smoked kombu, and rice koji,
Okay.
sea salt.
I'm excited. I like mushrooms a lot.
Oh,
But yeah,
that's the smoke in
Yeah.
there. It's so
The Italian hand came out with Mark.
Yeah, it has to. That's incredible because it
That's how you know.
has.
That's a seal of approval.
but sometimes this stuff can come off as intimidating to people, you know,
Yeah.
because
Sure,
it's
of
like
course.
it's just an interesting concept, and it's a backwards way of cooking. Not for
I love
not for
this.
us, but for
I
you.
want to make a soda out
as
of
the
it.
person.
I've used it in a drink.
Yeah,
Actually.
we
I
use it in
want
a
it
drink.
like in a soda with maybe a little bit of like herbalness, rosemary or something.
There's
a good idea.
on the coming pop up. We're using that in a drink.
Maybe a little brown sugar syrup also. That
be
sounds
fun.
so good. Oh, I want it. Wow. I'm really impressed with all of these, but you're
Yeah.
right. That is the best one so far.
Yeah, it could be intimidating for people though, right?
Sure.
And it's just a backwards way of cooking for the consumer because the garums, for example, they're already a caramelized and cooked product.
Right.
So if you could throw it in a pan that's hot, it'll burn like
Yeah.
within 1 second.
Yeah.
Like it'll burn immediately.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
okay.
And so it's just trying to educate the public on how to use these things, because once you start to understand it, you're like, oh my God, this is so much easier than any other cooking I've ever done in my life. Because like these garums, like I said, so you have to use with that context of it burning immediately,
Right.
then you have the context of being like, oh, that means I should probably use residual heat or no heat at all. So
Yeah.
what does that mean? I have to throw it in right at the end.
That's
Yeah.
a finisher.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's all it does. So
Finishing
it's like,
move.
yeah.
Finish him.
So it's kind of like,
That's for old people.
so it's
Like
just,
me. Played Mortal Kombat.
it's just making things more powerful,
Right.
essentially.
Yeah.
Beefing everything up.
It's just beefing it up, and shiitakeing it up,
Sometimes
and
literally.
bell peppering it up.
It's adding the flavor to your ingredient. It's doing
Yeah.
all the work for you.
Yeah.
That's what I like to tell people
Yeah.
at the farmer's market.
Totally,
Like,
it is.
you know, it's making cooking easier. You've got like you open your fridge and you've got an arsenal of
Yeah.
little soldiers ready to cook for you. You
Yeah.
know, so
Nice. A
yeah.
cooking army. I love it. A Roman army.
Which ones sell the most at the farmers markets? Do you think?
That shiitake garum,
Yeah.
however many I bring is however many sell. It is definitely the one. But also, it's funny how it goes because like I talk about it a lot. I can't help but have like small favorites and obsessions.
Yeah.
So you never know like how much that adds to it. But
you-
you know,
Your confirmation biasing.
They
them.
see the look on your face. They're like,
Yeah.
she's really
they're like
excited about
we
this.
need this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one's a big seller. And that goes into like the
Oh
show
my
you.
God.
That is
leads into this one.
Brilliant.
yes.
Your whole relationship, your whole business, it just dovetails into itself constantly.
Yes.
Yeah. Please show
So-
us.
Constant dovetail.
We'll show you the show you.
show you.
Yes, that's a good pun too. But yeah, that's probably
Show
our
me the show
our
you.
star product, and that especially is
You should smell it too.
yes.
All right.
So that is a 2-year-old shoyu. I had a very small release of it a couple weeks ago. I only have 12 bottles of it,
Yeah,
and we're
it's-
still releasing it on our Sims Club. Sims, it's like
We do a monthly subscription.
yes,
Well.
Is
and
that Sim, S-Y-M, as in
Yeah.
symbiotic? Okay,
Yeah.
Got it.
I think you're the first person to understand that.
I'm like, it's not like The Sims, right?
no,
it's
no,
not
no.
simulated.
SYM.
Ooh.
I can already smell it.
That's
It-
just
Yeah.
like I just tell people to treat
Yeah.
that like show you.
Yeah.
Like 'cause
I have
it
a
is
dumb
show
question.
you.
Is it shoyu or is it shoyu flavored garum?
Well, so this is the interesting
No,
part. It's
yeah.
not made with soybeans. It's
Okay.
made with yellow peas and
Okay.
toasted rice.
Okay.
So it's gluten free and soy free, which
Yeah.
is really cool because there's a lot of people that are intolerant of both,
Right.
Absolutely.
of gluten and soybeans. So
Oh, wow.
that one in particular is 2 years
Ooh.
old, which is usually, I usually don't have that one because to leave something for 2 years and not sell it is really hard.
We typically do that one for 8 months, though.
Yeah.
It has to go for 8 months.
Yeah.
What does the extra time change in the flavor?
Caramelization,
Yeah.
definitely. And the development of, also, you know what the most interesting part is? The longer it ages, the less aggressive the salt tastes.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
smooths out, which is fascinating because it actually dehydrates quite a bit through the fermentation process. So you would think it should taste way saltier, but it actually tastes way smoother.
We age them in beer barrels, essentially.
Yeah, that's so cool.
That's like my biggest thing that I was talking about for probably like weeks. I was just so excited about this barrel because we have a 50-gallon barrel, which is, first of all, the biggest amount of ferment, like the largest ferment that we've ever made.
Yeah.
And that barrel was in a gin. It might have been whiskey company first, then it was gin.
Cool.
And then it was at Fair Isle, and now it's
Cool.
with us.
Wow.
So
Layers.
it's
Yeah.
very cool. And we're very excited because we're going to be pressing it in the next couple weeks, and I'll be releasing it in July. And it's by far our biggest seller. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Cool.
We sell them in like 8.5-ounce bottles.
Yeah.
But as you just tasted, they're all very powerful, and you literally just need a spoon
Yeah.
for an entire meal. Like
Yeah.
you just throw in that little dab of something, and it just accentuates everything.
What do the bottles retail for?
So the misos are at 20, 50, and the shoyu is usually at 32.
That's
Okay.
the expensive one.
Yeah, no. It's fine.
The vinegars range from 22 to 24, depending if it's a foraged ingredient.
Okay.
And our little subscription bundle monthly is at 100 a month or 99. Sorry, 99.
99. People like that number better. It's 99.
You avoid triple digits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's a big.
but it's free shipping.
Free shipping.
So, and the cool part
Nice.
is we release the special products first, and they get more. You get access to special things in there. But
That's
yeah,
great. That's cool.
it's fun, and we
do
tell
they-
people how to use them too. We give a
How do
little
you
card.
how do you
cool.
sign up for a subscription?
Everything is on our website. We ship nationwide, and
What is
yeah.
the website?
Oh yeah, symbioticcultures.com.
Wow.
Yeah. We'll
That's
include that.
SYM.
Symbiotic.
Symbiotic.
Symbiotic. Yes.
Nice. How often do you do dinners?
Pop-ups?
For Amino? Yeah.
Attempt to do them once a month.
Okay.
But back to the conversation quite a while ago, it is a logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
I'm just going to admit it right
No,
now.
sure.
I am in no way trying to speak highly of ourselves, but it's just the concept is what the concept is. And we're giving people a restaurant experience. It's not just like a counter service sandwich pop-up. So it's like you build a restaurant in a night and you have
Yeah.
Right.
X amount of hours to do it, and then you have to tear it all down at the end of the night.
And you guys are using like actual.
I have
plates
I have
and-
all my own plateware,
Yeah.
all the drinkware, everything, and I have my own linens even.
Wow.
And like anything that I don't have water cups. I don't want to buy this. But like
You don't want to carry them around.
almost everything that a restaurant needs, I have, and you have to just carry it around
Yeah. Right.
everywhere. And I guess I am sort of complaining, but
No, I don't mind.
I'm still in a very privileged position.
So
but
people who listen to this may very likely also be doing pop-ups, and they will commiserate.
no, and the level of commitment that we decided to go with this whole thing is
Yeah.
very, intense. So
We want to give people an experience.
yeah, and like
and it's
we
like super. It's close, very dear to our hearts. You know.
we
Yeah.
actually this is cool that we brought these because we give like these at the end of the meal.
Nice.
Little
Oh,
things
nice.
like
Little
that,
gifts.
like little
Yeah,
gifts
you
like
get
that.
little gifts. I
You
feel
know.
like the price point is really reasonable for that.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's another fun short conversation because I chose to do fully prepaid event.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do that, I suppose. But as a pop-up, I'm really pushing it. I feel like because I do add the 20% gratuity.
Yeah.
Sure.
And sales tax or whatever.
Right.
So you pay 100% of the dinner before you even step foot in the door.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's asking a lot, but from a logistical standpoint, it makes things so much more smooth.
So the base price is $95
Yeah, this time it was 95.
plus 20%. Plus, if you want to do the beverage program,
Yeah.
that's additional plus tax.
I think it was,
Yeah.
$40 for the pairing.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like it's a real
Yeah.
meal. I mean, I feel like it's on par with everyone in the city.
It sounds like it's selling, you know?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
very. I'm shocked every time. Every time I'm about to drop the reservations,
Yeah.
I'm just like pulling my hair out. I'm like,
Yeah.
I hope people come.
But they do. It turns out that they do, yeah?
Yeah, no, people are interested.
Yeah,
I've
and the
found.
best part is that people come back.
Yeah, no,
Right.
that's the
Nice.
coolest. That's the
a
coolest.
huge proof
Nice.
of
We
concept.
were like looking around in
It's
our
so
talk,
amazing.
like 3 visits, 4 visits, and
Yeah.
we're like, oh my god, this is crazy.
Yeah,
we're very grateful.
that was a conversation
Yeah.
literally last night when we got home. I was looking at the reservations and I was like, oh my god, this is like that. That is true though.
Yeah.
That was probably the best feeling I've had.
Yeah.
For this
Good.
whole concept.
Have
so
you made
far.
friends of fans who want to come to
Yeah,
your dinners?
well, and the best part is they come to the dinners. They come to the farmers market
Yeah.
to buy
Yeah.
ferments.
Yeah.
I just love the community that we're building.
No,
Yeah.
I feel like the goal is community and
Yeah.
making this like, more accessible. And I do think at a small, slow scale, it is working.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
some
it
degrees.
seems like it.
Yeah, so it's very fun.
And
for
that's
sure.
what we really want with our like brick and mortar shop. That's why it's so important that the layout is correct and everything, because we want to do fermentation workshops there. We want to do like production aging facilities that people can check out and understand and stuff like that. Do casual food, so it's available for like day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
Just like make it like a real creative fermentation hub community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, what did you eat this week? Anything?
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to eat. So even though I was like
You gotta
crazy
eat. That's
with
what
work,
they say.
I managed to get out to a few places. So I went to Taurus Ox, which
Okay.
is one of my favorite restaurants in town. And I say that as someone who hasn't even had the famous burger there.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, it's Laotian food, and I want to have that. I
Yeah,
know the
that's
burger is
true.
good, and I want to try it at some point. But
Yeah.
like when there's all of these great entrees that are like so specific to that
Yeah.
cuisine, that's what I want to gravitate towards. So
Yeah.
that's what I did. I got tom kem,
Okay.
which is pork belly, which is stewed in like warm spice, and I think a little bit of palm sugar. I'm not 100% sure on that, but
Yeah.
there is like this kind of rich sweetness that the pork belly attains in a kind of like a broth that was on the side. And then there is a tamari marinated egg that it's served with.
Ooh.
And the thing that is kind of incredibly great and sort of simple sounding is they serve it with a Brussels sprout hash brown.
Aw,
Yeah.
I like that.
So it's like these shredded Brussels that are fried and pressed out like hash brown style over jasmine rice. It's incredibly delicious. And then I also got pad lao, which is what it sounds like. It's stir-fried noodles with pickled Fresno chili and cabbage, cilantro, and egg strips
Ooh.
and some fish sauce.
Like scrambled egg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They call it shredded egg, but it kind of comes across as like a whiter
Yeah, I
kind
think I
of
know what you're talking
strip.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's real rich. It's got a fish saucy kind of flavor to it, so it has a little bit of funk, a little interest to it.
Yeah.
I love it. Those two dishes are really hard to turn down when I'm going over there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I got to like bring more people, and then we can like split the burger, and I can finally figure out what
I've
everyone's.
never been there.
You have to go to
Yeah, we
super
gotta
good.
go.
That's
Yeah.
what they
That's-
say.
I've only been there like 3 times, and it's
That
just
is?
like I feel like a fool. Like that's how I feel. 'Cause it's
I know
like-
you mean.
Like it's like I need to be there all the time.
Yes.
The burger is worth all the hype for sure.
I
Yeah.
believe it. I believe
Yeah.
it. It's just I can't quite
I gotta
go
go.
there.
I'm all about is it beef jerky and is
Yeah.
it their own beef jerky with sticky rice? Is that what it is?
Yeah, they have that. Yeah,
Right?
I think they style it a little bit differently on the menu, but I can't remember what the word they use is.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I just
it's
haven't been there in a
essentially-
while and I forgot.
Beef
But
jerky is popular in Cambodia also.
Yeah,
It
amazing.
was so good. I remember that.
Yeah, I took her there not too long ago.
Nice. I gotta go.
Yeah, for sure. We got to do that.
Okay.
I also went to Single Shot.
Oh
and-
yeah. Oh man, I'm writing a story about them.
Yeah.
Oh
So
man.
I remembered you talking about them, and so
Did you get the pork chop?
I did.
Oh, you did?
I had.
Yay.
Yeah, you were talking about it. It sounded so great.
Steven and I just
like,
talk about that pork chop. We'll be like, someone will say pork, or we'll see a pig or something. We'll be like, remember that pork chop?
That was
Single shot.
I was a sous chef there as well.
Oh, were you
When
really?
they opened.
Really? In 2014 or something?
It was after the Willows. So
Okay.
that would have been 2017.
Okay.
For me.
All right. Yeah.
Because I remember I was taking over when James Sherrill, the
Yeah,
first chef,
right.
he was quitting and
Okay.
we were transitioning
You're
out.
the new
All right.
James.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those small but mighty kitchens.
Oh my
over
God.
there.
Yeah.
I loved
Yeah.
love that block. Okay, I'll let you keep talking.
Yeah.
So you got that pure country pork chop?
I did, yeah. This one was hosted, so I got to meet Rory, and he took me and
Great.
showed me the kitchen and everything.
Oh, really? I didn't get to do that.
Yeah, it's just really small, like super like galley.
Yeah.
It's like a galley kitchen in an apartment,
Yeah.
basically.
Oh,
you know?
100%. That's like the best way to describe that.
I got a good picture from like sitting at the bar of like someone shaking a pan over just engulfing flames.
Yeah.
Like it looked pretty tight in there. Yeah.
So the pork chop this time, I think it was prepared a little bit differently than when
really?
you got it, because they change seasonally, of course. Like
of course.
they don't change the entrees seasonally. They change how they treat them.
How they're
right?
styled,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this time it was with a thyme garlic butter sauce, apples, and then roasted spring onions. And they
Yeah.
served it with 3 ribs,
Yeah,
too.
we got the little TP'd ribs.
Yeah.
Really?
That was kind of the best part, actually. Like I took one of the ribs home in a to-go box, and I was just like,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that was a real.
good.
I think, I don't know, if you're of a certain age, like we are, maybe you think of a pork chop as kind of a boring cut of meat. It doesn't really taste like a whole lot. It doesn't have a whole lot of fat in it, because when I was growing up, that was what it was. It was just,
it's a lean cut.
it was lean. It was the
Now
other
they
white
leave all
meat.
the fat on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because in the 80s, it
Yeah,
was
they-
like diet.
Yeah,
Everything
the whole
was diet.
the whole pork industry was trying to style itself as the other white meat,
Right.
But it's got the nice fat content. It's
So fatty.
Yeah, it is rich. It's delicious. I'm going to be thinking about it the same as you, Meg. It was fantastic. Yeah, I think what I liked about it was really satisfying. And a lot of times that format of food, it can be in a place where that feels a little withholding sometimes. Like it's
Yeah.
real small platey and kind of dainty.
Yeah, right.
And that can be good, but I feel like we have so much of the real restrained type of food. It's kind of nice to go into a place and be like, oh, this is like a real satisfying big pork chop with
Yeah.
with ribs.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I loved it because we were doing the pork chop when I was there a long time ago, but that was back when the kitchen closed at 1 a.m.
Oh, wow.
2 a.m.
God.
Damn.
Back in the good
Yeah.
old days.
I guess there's not much out there. So
And
if
just-
you offer food, everyone goes to you.
No, yeah. And it's just like before the pandemic
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So it's just like, just imagine you can get that pork chop that you're talking about right there at like 1 a.m.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like that
Imagine.
was a gem.
What a life.
I hated working it.
I bet. I was just gonna say
It was awesome because it was a one man line.
Yeah, it's
type
hard.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I stopped short of saying that's magical when you first said that, because I was like, I bet that sucks to
Yeah.
I
work.
bet it's hard. Yeah.
But it would bring everyone in for sure.
Sure.
And it's just like the only reason why I bring it up is because it's just such a curveball. Because late night food is
Totally.
something
It went
you know,
away.
a little trashy and like fun and
Exactly.
junky. But it's like no, we were serving pork chops.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a big service crowd influx at around
Oh
like
yeah. Well,
midnight?
I mean, if you know anything about that block, it's just a service block, industry block.
Soul is very-
Oh yeah, Soul liquor.
Yes.
Bartender's row, apartment wise, right?
I lived across
Yeah.
the street for a whole year.
Yeah. I lived over there when I went to Cornish. So I bet you got students too back in the day.
Yeah. I love that block, and then Corneli's eventually.
Corneli's.
God,
Yeah.
Corneli's, I love you.
Yeah.
That is great pizza.
Oh
Great
my
pasta
God.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus. Also, on one last note, I don't know if they still do it because I'm out of the loop on Single Shot, but you don't sleep on their brunch. It's,
Oh, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
I've
Is
just
it packed?
ugh.
That's always my problem
I'm-
with
my
brunch.
mind-
That's why I sleep on brunch, because I don't
Yeah,
want to wait
It's
in
true.
line for an hour.
My mindset with Single Shot is
You're like, I don't have to wait in
2017
line.
and
Yeah,
2018,
exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
so like I'm out of the loop on
Yeah.
what's going on over there. But back in the day, I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's the same.
Yeah.
in my-
I wonder. I thought you were gonna say bread, because I did get the bread there. It was incredible.
Oh, yeah. The
It
bread was
like-
great.
Yeah.
The bread was killer. It had lots of olive oil over it
Like
and
little-
black garlic.
Yeah, there was black garlic in it. It was kind of
It had a ricotta.
like a finer crumb than I'm used to in most breads, but it worked. That
Yeah.
makes it sound like it was technically off or something, but it wasn't. You know,
No.
it was great.
Well, and Rory is such a hospitality
Yeah,
guy.
He's a pro.
He's a pro, yeah. Maybe it's because I'm in the industry and maybe it's because I work there, but you know, and like
Maybe.
regulars and stuff, when you'd go to that bar, it's just like the wine's flowing and you're just laughing and everyone's just in the best
It's
mood
beautiful
all
in
the
there,
time. All the time.
Yeah. I felt like I was traveling or something.
Yeah, no, you like go to somewhere else when you go in there. And
Yeah,
that's
you do.
again, that's why I don't go there.
yeah.
Did you eat anything else?
That was all I had time
Yeah,
for
'cause you're
last
busy,
week.
yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Me too. Very quickly, I worked constantly and endlessly, but I went to SAR's Super Saver, which has the best fried chicken of my personal lifetime. It's giving 1993. Like it's so greasy, but also so crisp. And I was telling Mark earlier, and they brine the shit out of the actual chicken meat. I think they probably separate the skin first and then brine it so that the marinade and the brine can get under the skin. It's very salty. It's done in a style that you don't see as much. Usually there's just a lot of seasoning added to it or it's fucked with in some way. But I got the dark meat combo. I think you get 10 pieces for $9.99. They have the old school pressure fryer with a crank, and that's really what does it. You need the space to have a giant fucking pressure, like industrial pressure fryer. And you need to be in the supermarket where you have access to constant chicken. They're making it fresh. There was a giant line behind me. So we got the dark meat combo and went to Spanaway Lake and sat by the lake and ate fried chicken. It's just got this, the skin has that shatteringly crisp, crystalline texture to it. And I feel like when people talk about places like Quick Pack, which is delicious, the problem with Quick Pack is it's been sitting under a heat lamp for a while. So you got to get there right when they make it, and it can be dried out.
Wait, is SARS doing it to order?
Yeah, they did it to order because they run out, because there's a huge line behind me.
Okay, but you might go to SARS and they might not run out sometime. Maybe.
They usually run out. I don't know. Erica Diama, who does Erica Taste Test, she went and they were out because they had cooked all of the chicken by like 2 p.m. or something. They just make a lot of chicken there. There's one in White Center. There's one in Auburn. There's one in Kent. There's one in Tukwila. There's one in Oak Harbor. And there's one in like Parkland, Tacoma area. Anyway, best fried chicken and cheap as shit. It used to be $7.99 and now it's $9.99. Ain't that the way all over? Yeah. It used to be like 60 cents a piece.
That's like free.
Wow.
I will say the drumsticks were a little bit small, but I did not care because they were small but mighty.
Yeah.
And then we were just kind of doodling around on Saturday night, and we were like, we should leave the house. And we went to Parkland. We were just driving around, and we went to a place called the Penalty Box, which is a hockey bar. And I remembered I had a good cocktail there once that had prickly pear in it and something else, and maybe glitter. Possibly.
Oh, wow. I love the name Penalty Box.
The Penalty
for a hockey
Box,
bar.
I know. Yeah, you're being punished.
Exactly.
So we went. I just remember this cocktail. It was pink and it had sort of like an opalescent feel about it, and it was called the Moondrop. So we went. I didn't have the Moondrop anymore, but they had changed the menu, and I guess the owner, unsurprisingly, is Canadian, and they had a ton of Canadian shit on the menu. They had lots of poutine, lots of different kinds of poutine. They had Montreal smoked meat sandwiches, which I don't think you can find here.
Yeah, I don't know of a place
They had They had a Montreal smoked meat platter where you could get pickles and stuff.
Okay.
But you could also get the sandwich, which is a kosher. It's Jewish Canadian cuisine. You might be able to get it in Lake Hills in Bellevue, but I don't know that you can get it anywhere else. I did not order it because we had already eaten.
Write that down.
Yeah.
Box. I got it.
Yeah, everybody wants it. They had the Nimo bars, which you can get anywhere, but I was excited to see it. It was just like a Canadian menu. They had a very Canadian butter tarts, which I've never had.
Yeah.
I dated a guy from Ontario, from Windsor, Ontario, a long time ago, and he would talk about butter tarts constantly. He's like, I don't understand why Seattle doesn't have butter tarts. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that is. But they had them, and they're sort of like tiny pecan pies, but butterier and flakier, like more time spent on the short crust anyway.
Yeah, Seattle doesn't have butter tarts because Seattle's not Canada, is why.
That makes sense, because you left Ontario and then you came here. So you left them in Ontario, man. Well, now they're in Parkland as well.
Yeah.
Lucky that guy.
There it is.
They also had this thing called, I don't remember what they were calling them, but it said in the description, giant tater tot, house-made giant tater tots. We were like, what?
Okay.
So they're not from a frozen bag. They took hash browns, right? Soaked them a little bit more, got the starch out, and then I wanted to say government cheese, but like Velveeta, some kind of shitty cheese and bacon bits. And then they deep fried them and made these croquettes
Hot damn.
and served it with jalapeno, queso, and ranch dressing. And they were good. They were dumb. Like it was dumb sports bar food, but I was like, I love this place.
Sounds fun.
What I want.
So that's what I ate this week,
right.
pretty much. Wait, I think there's one more thing. Oh, I had a really nice coffee mocktail at Bluebeard in Tacoma, which was just Pathfinder. I don't normally like Pathfinder. It's like too herbal for me often. I can't say the word often. It's too herbal for me often, but it was just a nitro cold brew and Pathfinder and a little bit of cola syrup from Portland Syrups, which is not too sweet.
Oh,
I love those Portland syrups.
Yes.
It was a great use of those little syrups.
Yeah, you can get those at Cheeky and Dry, and
Yeah.
they have so many different varieties that are all.
I have the root beer one. Yeah.
Yes, that root beer one is so good.
It's so good.
Wait, what? Which
They're
one?
little syrups.
They're called Portland
Portland
syrups?
is it's
Yeah.
called Portland syrups.
Oh, okay.
And they're in little brown bottles. They look like
We go to Cheeky and Dry often.
apothecary bottles from 1910, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have a little cork in them, and they make a million different flavors.
Yeah.
But this was the cola syrup with Pathfinder and nitro cold brew.
Last time I was at Cheeky and Dry, those bottles were on the north wall, sort of like
Oh, yeah.
halfway down.
Every time I see them, I want to buy 5 of them.
Yeah.
They have a yuzu one. They have like a gingery one. Yeah.
Yeah, super good.
That's it. That's all I ate. What'd you guys eat?
A bunch of stuff popped up actually when I was listening to you
Yeah?
guys. Not like super recently, but things that I really love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite diner in Seattle is Glow's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Close is fantastic.
I used to go there. It was where I had my first eggs Benedict.
Oh, really?
I
When it was on
like-
Olive Way.
Yeah.
Yes, when I was on Olive Way, and I've waited so long to get in that brunch. I've waited like an hour and a half to 2 hours to get in there.
Yeah.
From with all my like best friends, and yeah. So just recently went to. I mean, I've been to it a couple times, but the location in Capitol Hill is great.
Yeah.
And they just do it so perfectly. Like
Yeah.
the hollandaise, I always get the Benedict there.
Okay. That's the move
perfect,
at Glow's.
yeah, the perfect hash browns. It just makes me happy. I like
Yeah.
that place.
Good.
And then another thing that came up was that we went to Basa, which
Oh,
is on
yeah.
Bainbridge.
Basa is
Yeah.
so
Oh,
good.
yeah.
So I went there actually, probably like when they first opened.
Yeah.
We took the ferry over there, and they were like, "Okay, yeah, we'll put you on the wait list, but you only have 50 minutes to eat." And we're like, "Done, we'll do it." And so we had it, and I thought about it for the next like 5 years. I swear to God, until we came back
Yeah.
for the pop up that we did
the
with
Seabird.
Seabird. Yeah, and I was like, "We got to go here. I don't
Yeah.
care what it takes. We got to go here." They have these like.
Yeah, I was in the middle of getting ready for the dinner.
Uh-huh.
Like, we have to take a break now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Go over there.
I was like nervous. I was like, "Stop this!
Yeah.
We need to
Stop
get over
all this."
Yeah, the egg rolls, the crispy egg rolls.
God.
With the taro?
Yes,
Yeah.
the filling is incredible.
Okay.
It's just the best experience. And then they have like these truffle wonton things.
Oh, yes.
Super good. The crab, it's like a crab roll, I believe, was super good. Or no, it was like the spider crab fried in like a little roll.
Ooh.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then their banh mi's
Yeah,
are,
the banh mi's are amazing.
it's just like, it's funny how it's like a revolutionary idea, but I've just never seen it before. They chop everything up and then they mix it in a bowl and then put it in the sandwich.
Okay,
So it's
okay,
just
okay.
like consistent
Yeah.
all
It's
the way
it's
through.
homogenized.
Yeah, and so it's just like, oh my God, there's so much flavor and
Yeah.
it's amazing.
I love
You
that
guys-
place.
Trin and Thai are just incredible with flavors.
Geniuses.
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
And one last shout out to my favorite ice cream. I always get Fainting Goat, the chocolate fondant ice cream.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one I get.
Okay.
And it's every month. I'll get like maybe 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
It's just so good. It's the perfect chocolate ice cream.
Okay.
All right.
What's so good about it?
I don't know. Just
Chocolatey as hell.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm like so basic with my desserts. It's
Oh, that's
ridiculous.
fine.
But I love chocolate. And it's just like, it tastes like the perfect chocolate milk.
Okay. What about you, Jaimon?
Well, I never remember the taco truck. by
Oh,
your house.
it's so I grew up next to this taco truck. My first car that I had died right in front of it too. It's in Bellevue. It's called El Maestro del Taco.
Okay.
It's
All
right next to.
Great name.
I swear to God, I will die on this hill. It's the best tacos.
I don't know if
in
they'll
the
ever know
area.
that we
Okay.
talked about
And
them.
on the food truck, they have a Yelp thing.
Okay.
Like 75th best in the whole world according to Yelp. And I'm like, you should be proud of that
Yeah,
because
maybe higher.
it's amazing.
You're like,
What
correct.
makes it so good?
The molitas, they're
Okay.
Huh?
the perfect ratio of cheese
Okay.
and carnitas. And
They have
it's,
tongue tacos there, which I
Yeah,
love. Like I
yeah.
love all of those like organ meats. So
Yeah, yeah.
everyone,
yeah.
there's a lot of good tacos and a lot of bad tacos in the city. And I love that diversity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That range, you know,
Totally.
I love it.
Yeah.
But no, I think about that place like every other day. So I have
What
to
part
go
of
bring it
Bellevue?
up.
It's in Crossroads. It's
Okay.
right by the church. It's the only El Maestro del Taco.
Yeah,
So-
Yeah.
I bet.
And then the only other thing worth mentioning is Layers.
Oh yeah, I love that
Yeah.
place
I
so
love
much.
you. I love
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
I love you.
What's your favorite sandwich there?
I try to get something different every time,
Yeah.
and they have not strayed me.
Nice.
Yeah, their cookies
wow.
are so good too.
They were Restaurant of the Year last year for Eater, yeah?
It was either last year or the year before. I can't remember which one. But
I don't remember, but they were like the number one restaurant in the whole city for Eater Seattle.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever fangirled over something so hard before.
Yeah.
But oh my God,
They're the best.
every time I go over there, I'm just like,
Nice.
that's
Rad.
what I want.
Shall we wrap it?
I think so.
Yeah. Did you
well,
write anything?
I'm still working on that seafood map update.
All right.
And that'll probably be done. Well, it's due on, I think, the 19th. So
Yeah.
published shortly after there.
I've still got cider map waiting in the
Yeah.
hopper, and I'm done with that Sea Creatures very difficult 6-person interview about the union and the closing of Bateau and Boat Bar.
I'm looking
So
forward to reading that.
Sounds like
It's going to have to go through legal a couple times.
yeah.
But look for that in The Stranger maybe at the end of the week.
Complicated tale.
We have a probably like a fermentation class in the back burner, so keep an eye out on that.
Okay.
Cool. All
Yeah,
right.
for the next month.
Yeah, we're gonna try to start doing more classes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Rad.
And people can follow you on Instagram.
Yes, symbiotic_cultures
Good.
and
What is mine?
at Amino_Seattle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This is really
thanks, you
fun.
guys. Yeah,
This
Thank
is
you
a
so
great
much for
episode.
having us. Yeah.
What a party.
What a cool conversation.
Yeah. All right.
Sounds great.
That'll do it.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, folks.
Oh yeah, maybe like one last news point that we forgot about is that we're gonna have like a little break in July from
Oh, yeah.
recording.
We're taking July off from the podcast. We'll play our favorite episodes.
Yeah,
That's what we'll do.
That's what we'll do. Great. We have one more recording coming up with
Emily Ritchie from Northwest
Yes.
Cider Association, who's
Yeah.
Portland based. And I really like her.
Yeah.
She's a piece of work. She's funny.
That'll
Yeah.
be cool. And that episode will likely drop at the beginning of July, so there'll be something. But
You'll have
yeah.
something.
Yeah, but
You won't starve. You'll have something.
yeah, and who knows? We'll probably put out some like weird little videos.
Yeah,
or
you
something.
and I could do like a 10-minute or 15-minute
Yeah.
update here and there.
Yeah, just a time to rest and recalibrate, and also like a chance to ask y'all as an audience like what you've been liking, what you'd like to see different.
Who should we talk
stuff like
to?
that.
Also, like
Yeah.
who wants to be on the show?
Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Don't forget us. Send us notes.
Exactly.
All right.
All right. With that,
Thanks, everybody.
thanks everyone. Bye.
TTYL. Bye.
Bye.